Hey, hey, and welcome back to the Vol podcast. It's been, again, a little break in between the last time that we were on. It was the man sitting to my left on the screen, Mr. George Hooks. As you can see, again, gigantic Duke fan. I apologize for anybody watching that you have to see that. It's embarrassing. I hate that I'm associated with it, but he knows basketball. Yeah, knew that was coming. Sorry to all the Vol fans out there. But the last time we came to you, we talked about a college basketball preview. We hit some stuff, George. We hit some stuff. We missed on some stuff, but I think my biggest miss was the Big East. I thought they would get more teams in, but I said seven SEC teams. I think you said eight ACC teams. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if you remember. And SEC got 10, which I said seven with some bubble teams. And my big miss was South Carolina. I was way off on that one. But I think overall we did pretty good. Have you had a chance to go back and listen to it?
I've listened to part of it. One thing I do remember that I kind of was watching some of the conference matchups. Queens College, they did make the tournament in the first year of eligibility, being eligible for it. So,
All
and
right.
that's got a little local tie to us because of LMU up the road from us. That was their big rival who kept knocking them out of their tournament every year. And they finally got the chance to jump to D1, and they did. And first year as they could go, they made the tournament.
Well, congratulations, Queens College. So where is Queens College? Virginia?
Charlotte.
Charlotte. Okay. Okay. All
And
right.
I'm assuming that's why it might be Queen because Charlotte is the Queen City. Only wrestling fans would know that.
I'm not a wrestling fan, so
It's Rick. Charlotte is Ric Flair country and ACC country.
gotcha. I think for anybody out there listening, like it, share it. It doesn't really matter if you do or not, because we just do this for fun anyways. We just are two sort of basketball junkies that like to talk about basketball. So I think we're going to start out with some injuries of note. Most of these you already know about. George might have some little insider information on Duke, but the big one to me, um, George, I think you had Texas Tech in your Final Four originally. I
Hmm.
may have, I don't remember, but JT Toppin, I think he tore his ACL, right?
Yes, and he did make first team All American, which I was glad to see that the kid deserved it.
Yeah.
Which I that's, guess last 3 weeks of 4 weeks of the season probably he missed, and still he was rewarded for what he done early in the season. So that's good to see.
Yeah, he's actually been out a month and one day. He tore his ACL on February 17th. Um, I don't know that they really were having the season that we thought that they would up until then, but without him,
Well, I would love to say that, but they did beat Duke, so
okay.
I'll I'll keep quiet on that one. It
Well,
was probably one of the better games of the year
oh
Duke
yeah,
was involved in.
yeah. So, he was averaging 20, almost 22 points a game, and he was averaging a double double, and you just can't really take that. That's the biggest upset pick, the most popular upset pick of the tournament is what is it, Akron over Texas Tech? So everybody's picking that. I stayed away from that one because everybody's picking it. The money's going to start moving. Like I stayed away
I
from it.
would I would really be careful on that because a team loaded with guards is Texas Tech. They
Mhm.
all can shoot. They all can defend.
And I feel like I read they got a guard back that had been hurt. Maybe Christian Anderson, maybe? Is that?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, of course, Caleb Wilson for North Carolina is
Uh,
out.
also was rewarded for his early season work too for All
And
American honors.
I mean, they should be. I mean, these young. I always want to say kids, but these young men put in a whole season worth of work. I mean, they should be rewarded, and kudos to the people picking them. But yeah, that kind of I think I have North Carolina winning their first game, but then I think they're going to run into. We'll talk about that later, but. That's another popular upset pick. 11 VCU over 6 North Carolina. Um, LJ Kaysen from Michigan, um, I think has been a bigger hit to them than I don't even think he started, did he? Did he start for Michigan? I think he was
They was kind of in and out rotation, starting lineup. It's a huge hit for
yeah, they've looked different since then.
them. Because
Um,
if there's one area Michigan does struggle more than the other, it's definitely guard play. Uh,
Turnover.
yes,
Yeah. Yeah. Um, Carter Welling from Clemson, you probably have more insight on this because it's ACC than me. Um, I know he, you know, got hurt. He's 6'11", so anytime you lose somebody 6'11" with playing time that averages 10 points and 5 rebounds, that's a hit, you know. And right there, did he get hurt in your all's game or the North Carolina game?
before he did not play against us last time,
Okay.
which
Uh,
he had a pretty decent game against Boozer and Brown for us. He held his own with them.
So I think we were a little bit off on our ACC picks. I think we both thought that Louisville would be the clear number two in the ACC. Well, I think you said North Carolina. I said Louisville. North Carolina at 4. Where did Louisville fall? 3?
Look, Louisville was if Miami snuck in over
Oh,
Louisville.
so Louisville fell to 5 then.
Yes, which Louisville has had injury problems herself. Mikael Brown has been in and out of lineup, and he is out at least the first two games from what I was reading earlier
Yeah,
of the tournament.
that's a blow because he is very impressed. This freshman class, all it has been crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel
Well,
like that if I were a freshman that was, I might if I thought for it's not going to happen, but I thought for a second I was like, man, if I was Nate, amen, I would maybe think about staying another year. But I mean, he won't. I mean, he'd be stupid too. But this freshman class is just loaded. Like, we had
mm-hmm.
one. I think it was our snow day here. I mean, there were like what 4 or 5 freshmen that went for like 35 plus, and most of them went for 40. It was nuts.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I'll throw a couple years out at you. So speaking of the freshman class, 1984, 1996, 2003. Do you know what those years are?
2003. No. All top
Those
10 college players. I don't know.
those are considered the three biggest NBA draft years ever. Of course, 84 was the Michael Jordan year.
Okay.
96 was Kobe, Steve Nash, you name it. And of course, '03 was
Ron.
LeBron, D Wade,
Yep.
Carmelo. This freshman class has the potential to be better. I'm
I
not saying there's a Michael Jordan out of the class, but overall, from 1 through 10, there's a great chance you don't have 10 All Stars a few years down the road.
I don't even know who I would pick as the best freshman in this class. I mean, they've all went off, like Darius Acuff is phenomenal. We Darren Peterson, I'm sure has dropped a lot just with his injury stuff, but it's been nuts. Even like
Mm-hmm.
every time you think, oh, and then you remember another team that has another crazy freshman, like Illinois, they have a really good freshman. I mean, just they're everywhere. You mentioned McKell, and then Caleb Foster, your point guard, he's out till. Do you think he'll be back or?
There is rumors going around that he could return if there's a Final Four run.
So that's pretty significant for
That
a lot of people are picking Duke, and that's can y'all
that's
do
huge
without
for
him?
one reason. Yeah, for one reason, the biggest reason that's huge. Just say we make a run in Florida. Of course, we beat Florida earlier in the year. I don't know if we could beat them without Foster because we would not be able to bully their guards the way we did. We bumped,
Well,
and
Florida
that
is
was the
a
big
different
thing.
team. I hate to say that, but Florida is a different team now than that. Florida lost to Missouri in their first game in the SEC, which Missouri's a good team. They beat us, but
You know why Missouri is a good team, though, right?
I'm trying to think why you would say Missouri's a good team, and I'm not sure.
They're being led by a former Duke player,
Oh, I
Mark
knew it.
Mitchell.
I knew it had something
Yep,
to
there you go.
Mark Mitchell.
Which one of my insiders, they've been teasing something at Duke since the ACC tournament started. We got a red shirt player. Of course, he's been red shirted. They've been doing a lot of individual workouts with them pregame. So that could be the possible because I don't think the kid will play next year with what Duke has coming in and what could return. So they may burn a red shirt on him.
You don't think he'll play next year? Why would he burn his red shirt then?
I'm thinking that it might be a possible transfer after this year
Yeah. Yeah.
because Duke's probably there's no boozer in next year's class, but after that, their freshman class is probably gonna be better.
Do you think Caden will go too?
Caden will stay.
Okay.
Caden is if he goes, good luck. I don't know who could convince him that he would be ready. I think he will be a multi-year player at Duke.
He had a good ACC tournament, right? Or at least a good ACC tournament championship game.
Well, I think a lot of that was a lot of trash talking. He got dogged pretty hard after the last couple of regular season games. I'm talking pretty hard by other ACC schools, and I think Shire just kind of told him, "Hey, go do it."
Yeah.
But Shire did make I don't know. I know you wouldn't watch Duke's post game press conference after they won the ACC championship. It was quite comical. Uh, he had Caden, Cameron Boozer, and Isaiah Evans at the table, and Shire was just praising Caden Boozer. He said, "Yeah, tonight Caden carried Cameron and Isaiah and the rest of us." And Isaiah Evans' response was classic. He said, "Well, if it was Caden carrying it, definitely wasn't your coaching." So
Yeah. Actually, I heard about that. Yeah.
that was awesome.
Yeah. All right. That's way too much Duke talk for a Vol Vault podcast. So I'm gonna have to shut you down there. Um, so the last of the injuries, UCLA's got a couple guys that should be okay, but for anybody that's thinking about picking them, because they're a good team. Donovan Dent was one of our impact players we talked about in the last podcast, but Donovan Dent is supposed is he's hurt. He's supposed to play, and Tyler Bilodeau is supposed to play, but he's also hurt. And I also read that Lindenborg for Michigan has been playing on a sprained ankle. So that's something also to kind of keep in the back of your mind.
Well, another on Lindenborg, I don't know if you've noticed, they've been playing them at top more the last several games. So it might be a nagging injury with them. But I don't know if that's good or bad because the guy can shoot.
Yeah,
He,
I mean that's classic like this Dusty May. I mean, that's
I
whatever.
think he was like 4 for 7 against Purdue.
Mhm.
I mean, that's pretty good for a big guy.
Yeah. So by for every conference that got a every multi-bid conference, the SEC had 10. I was a little bit shocked about, I'll just be honest. We had 10. Um, Big 10 had 9, Big 12, 8, ACC, 8, Big East, only 3, West Coast Conference with 3. How about that? I think we thought it was just going to be Gonzaga and St. Mary's, and then Santa Clara snuck in there too as a 10. The MAC got 2 because of Miami, Ohio. I'm glad that they rewarded them for their season, even though they didn't win their tournament. And the Atlantic 10 got 2. So
I know you spoke of Santa Clara. The last time they made the tournament,
I do not.
it would have been a player off that '96 draft class that led them, Steve Nash.
Oh, I like Steve Nash. So I thought
Yeah,
you were.
Steve Nash. He was good. One of the best ever.
Yeah. Okay. So how we're going to do this is George is going to talk about a region. I'm going to talk about one. We're going to go back and forth. Of course, I'm going to give him Duke's, just because I'm being nice because he is my guest. And I'll talk about Tennessee's in the Midwest, and then we'll split up the other two. So George, the floor is yours. Go ahead and just kind of limit the Duke talk just a little bit if you can.
I've got you. I got you. I mean, I'll go ahead and say I've got Duke coming out of that, but we'll
I do
go down
too.
it. We'll,
I do too.
we'll give some more people praise, which the most. I don't know if Duke got rewarded for being the number 1 overall seed because
You did not.
it is a very tough region. Which I think the final number was 31 total national championships in this one region, which UCLA's got 11. And of course, they've not completely been relevant in a while. I mean, they've been decent, but not what they used to be. Of course, you got Kansas with multiple. Who else was in there? UConn. They're
Mm.
UConn's a blue blood now.
They have
Uh,
five. Yeah.
yeah,
Michigan.
they're UConn is loaded too. That's the team I've got playing Duke in the Elite Eight. Um, they got bigs, guards. They play as a team. They got some senior leadership. That's one big thing. One game I got my eye on, and I'll be a closet fan of a team in this region, the UCLA UCF game. Uh, UCLA could, if they get past their first opponent, they could pull an upset, but go UCF, the Johnny Dawkins led UCF team, which Duke played them earlier in the year and beat them in an exhibition, beat them pretty bad, but uh, he had not one player that was from his roster last year, 13 new players. I think he played 11 against Duke, and he finally got a rotation down. And they got hot. They won some games in conference, in a tough conference. Michigan State, that's a team that's kind of a Jekyll and Hyde. I can't figure them out. One week they look unreal. I don't think they look like Tom Izzo team this time of the year because usually he's got them gelling in all aspects. Uh, I think they got a little mental head case going on with Sears, or he's I don't know. He's had some incidents this year. Louisville, we talked about Michael. That could be huge
Hmm.
because I think they still get past the first round game, but of course they'd be matched up more than likely with Michigan State, barring an upset, which I don't see as many mid major upsets this year. I've got more upsets later in the tournament. Because one of my key points going into this tournament when I looked at it, which I think I mentioned it when we done our earlier podcast in the year, uh, the mid majors got plucked dry by Power Five schools, and I think this year there wasn't that many automatic bids. There's at large bids from the mid majors, not as many as usual. See St. John's, they're getting hot at the right time. Their senior leadership, edge of force tough.
Hmm.
Uh, they could make a run, which I've got a St. John's, Kansas matchup, which could be epic if you know who plays. If he plays, I think he's the best freshman. He's the best NBA ready player, I think. I've seen him when the other team's fans have got on him. He turns it up a notch.
Hmm.
He a lot like Caleb Wilson was for Carolina. He wouldn't let the chatter get to him. He'd use it to his advantage. Which I think you've definitely got UConn and Duke in the Elite Eight, and of course I'm not picking against Duke, but the UConn is our kryptonite in the tournament. Uh, of course, they beat us in '99, which was probably the most loaded Duke team ever. Uh, they beat not JJ Redick out of the tournament. We just don't like UConn. We don't play well against them.
I don't.
Uh, so, something else that drove me nuts when I first seen it. Once again, Michigan State, Duke, same region. Seems like it happens every year in the tournament. Uh, like I said, the big thing I got other than Duke coming out of this, go UCF. I'd like to see Johnny Dawkins get a tournament win. He's done an amazing job down there, which of course they're kind of that stuck in the middle. They're a Power Five school, but they're more like a mid major. It would be hard to get players in there that, especially that's on state.
Yeah.
Uh, Another thing too, which I don't really like our first round site, and where's Tennessee playing at their first round game?
I should know that, but I do not. Uh,
Uh, they're playing in Philly. Okay, Greenville, South Carolina. It seems like every year they host first, second round games there. They do have problems with the court because it's on top of a hockey. I guess it would be a hockey rink, correct?
yeah.
And they do have problems with the floor sweat. And I know the last couple of times Duke's played there, and I was watching. I think it was last year they had games there. They was having problems with moisture. So
The only
that's something.
difference I have in from my bracket is I have Michigan State beating UConn just because I'm a gigantic Izzo fan and I want to see it happen. Michigan State looked so good at the beginning of the year. I don't You may be right about, some, just mental stuff going on because I mean How high did they get? They got up there, ranked pretty high.
I'm I want to say when we played them, I want to say they was maybe eighth or ninth. It's maybe as high as seven. I, it was early in the year.
I have St. John's and Kansas matching up with St. John's winning and you guys beating St. John. I have Michigan State beating UConn, like I said, and then you guys beating Michigan State. The UCLA injuries are a little bit troubling. Plus, I'm not a Mick Cronin fan, so I just don't know about him. I think everything else is pretty chalky. I think Ohio State gets by TCU, but I mean, I'm not, married to that thought. I've seen people pick Cal Baptist over Kansas. I assume Darren Peterson is going to play, but I don't know. I mean, the podcast came out I heard on the radio today about Hunter Dickinson saying about how negative Kansas fans were and how last year that it made them check out because they didn't feel like they were being supported. And I'm like, I think everybody's pretty much laughing at him for saying that.
Yeah.
But um but yeah,
Even without him though, Flory is like he's been unreal this year for Kansas. I
hmm,
mean, I think like 13 points, 9 rebounds, maybe close to 3 blocks a game. That's pretty impressive. That's a good stat line.
yeah. Okay, we'll jump over to the Midwest, Tennessee's region. Of course, the number one is Michigan. The two is Iowa State. I went chalkier than I usually do with my bracket. Um, I think Georgia will get past St. Louis.
Oh, Starla.
Cream
You
of
know who played?
I,
Yeah, don't go against Robbie.
I know. I wanted to pick them just for him, but Georgia can play good at times, and I think they'll get past them. It's an 8-9 matchup, so anything could happen. But I did kind of want to pick Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, but yeah, I went with Georgia just because mainly because they've been through it in the SEC. Of course, I have Michigan. I did pick Texas Tech to beat Akron, but like I said, that's one of the most popular 12-5 upsets, which I think if you go by the numbers, they're actually a little bit more 6-11 upsets more recently than the 12-5. But either way, I think Texas Tech will get past them. It could be a good game, though. Of course, I picked Bama to beat Hofstra, but I think Hofstra is a very high offensive efficient team, and Bama's Holloway is they won't have Holloway now. I 100% could see Nate Oates finding some little way to bring Aiden Holloway back for the second round game. I mean, who cares about how much did he have? Like 100 pounds of
It
pot or something like that.
it would have made for a good party. He was yeah.
It's
It was it was a lot.
they would just be passed out and eating. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know. It was so I have them actually making it to the Sweet 16 past Texas Tech just because of JT Toppin not being there. Of course, I have Tennessee winning their first round game, and I already apologize. I'm just as big a fan of Tennessee as Georgia's Duke, but I feel like that realistically, well, for one thing, I'm doing us all a favor because every time I pick Tennessee to go really far, they get put out. So when I pick them to go out early, then they go further. So that was my whole thinking on this. Also, we've just been so inconsistent this year. We will play the winner of Miami, Ohio, or SMU. Storyline. BJ Edwards. I'm not sure if he was the number one player in Tennessee, but a very, very good player that played at Catholic in Knoxville. Of course, started his career here. My son actually went to the Catholic IMG game in Knoxville a few years ago. Jaden Springer was on the floor. Zach Eady played for IMG. I don't know if he played that game. I believe your guy, Mark Mitchell, did he play? Did he play?
Yeah, yeah, I believe he was part of the game. I think Edie did. I'm pretty sure Edie did not play
Yeah, I don't
because
think he played.
seems like we was discussing that at work a bunch of us one day.
Hmm.
Would you have Tennessee playing second round if they win?
I have them playing Virginia, and you can give maybe more insight on Virginia for all the Tennessee fans listening.
I do not want any part of Virginia again.
Hmm.
I don't know if Duke's ever been handled down low from the, just not being able to score. I think Boozer got blocked like 7 times. And I wouldn't say Virginia, it was probably 10 blocks. Their center set the ACC tournament record for blocks. It was like 20 or 22, something. It was something god awful.
Hmm.
And they were, I mean, a lot of times you want to say, hey, that was a foul because it's your team. It was clean. I mean, uh, it's almost like watching Dikembe Mutombo in his prime. It was that beautiful.
Well, I mean, I don't want to be negative at all ever about Tennessee. Like I said, I just want to be realistic. We have struggled in our front court this year. At We've had a couple, I mean, a few games where I feel like they've done well, you know, guard play, as you say all the time, guard play wins in March.
I think with Virginia style play, though, Gillespie's style play could hurt Virginia if you can get out and run. See, that's our problem when we played them. Of course, Caden can't run. He, you can see the jitters in him. I think Gillespie could have a game and a half against Virginia, just because he's so fearless going down the court. It's like down the lane. It's like he just don't care sometimes,
I
and I
mean,
think that would benefit Tennessee.
yeah, I think, I love Kobe. He's been a great addition. He's had a phenomenal season. Um, I hope his family's not listening. I think sometimes the lights get maybe just a little bit bright, and I get that, that's completely understandable. I think for us to advance at all, I mean, Nate's just got to go off, I mean, I think it's that simple. Jacoby's got to have a really good game. Um, he's got to tune everything else out. He is completely capable of being the best guard on the floor, best, at any time. I really believe that. Um, we've just got to, and we need some help from our post players to advance. I really honestly wouldn't be surprised if we went out against SMU. I think we can handle Miami, Ohio, even though they're like the second leading score or offensive team in the country or something like that. I wrote it down somewhere.
They've had so many close games, though.
They
I don't
did
know. Peter
average
Shooter, I
90
think,
points a game.
yeah, Peter Shooter's their best player, like most consistent. But it's not the fact they're scoring so much. Some of the teams they let hang around,
Hmm.
like down to back and forth. It wasn't like they got leads on teams and teams cut it, to 1 or 2 points with 2 minutes to go. It's like it was just back and forth the whole game. Some of those teams they should have probably blew out. And I know you mentioned what was it you said about the 6-11 upsets? They've been more of them.
Hmm.
Uh, I'd like to go back and look and see how many Power Five teams have got stuck with 11 seeds the past 6 years because it seems like it's happening a lot more. Because
Hmm.
that used to be just reserved for mid-major teams usually,
Hmm.
and they're like these conferences, like the ACC. You said got what 10 teams in.
Hmm.
Uh, they're gonna have some double-digit seeds out of that ACC several years ago when they got a bunch of teams in. What was Carolina one year when they made their run? I think they might have been a 9 seed maybe, but
That's
NC
right.
State, Maryland, back in they used to pop up at 11 seeds all the time. It
Hmm.
just I don't know. It's so weird now because I'm just used to when I was younger that 11, 12 seeds was always a team you never heard of.
Well, so this year, SMU and NC State were playing games for the 11 seed, and then Texas from the SEC, of course, beat NC State to get that 11 seed. So,
Go Longhorns! I love it.
ooh, that's gross.
We
We
hate
don't have that
NC,
here.
we hate NC State.
I don't care. We hate Texas more,
Well, maybe next time if they play the refs can win. How's that?
and that'd be fine with me. Yeah, Miami. I don't. First of all, I don't think that we will lose in our first round game. I think we will beat either SMU or Miami of Ohio. I do want to note they have Miami, Ohio has 6 players that average double digits. They shoot about almost 40% from three. And like I said, they average 90 points a game. I don't think any of that stuff happens against us. Not that we're an elite defensive team like we usually are, but I do think that we'll get by either one of those teams. One thing that worries me about SMU, Boopy Miller can go off, and normally I would say good luck with that, but this year we've had several games where guys have just went off on us, like,
We got lucky. He was out when we played him,
oh, yeah.
but he did scorch Carolina like 2 days before. Wanting to say he might have had like 34, maybe. He had a game against them.
Mm-hmm. I've got Iowa State and Virginia in the Sweet 16, and I hate that Bama is going to be matched up with Texas Tech because I'm afraid they'll win. And then when they move on to the Sweet 16, there'll be some kind of loophole and Holloway will come back. Even though I think with or without him, they're not getting past Michigan. But I just really don't want to see Bama in the Sweet 16 at all.
It would not shock me if they put an upset on Michigan. I don't think it will happen, but it would not shock me.
I don't
Just
I've watched them a lot this year. They are, capable. Look, if they're hitting threes, they can beat anybody. I mean, if
Michigan's problem is their bigs getting foul trouble, and without their bigs on the floor, they're a different team.
Bama doesn't have good bigs though. Their front court's
You
not.
drive. We drove the ball on them. Our guards did and got them in foul trouble.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's their big thing. Just they, I don't know. It's like Mara's great, their center, but he cannot. He can't seem to go straight up. I mean, he doesn't use his head while defending a lot of times.
Well, I mean, Michigan has two potential first round picks in Mara, like you just said, and then Johnson Jr. But you know, I have Michigan and Ohio State in the Elite Eight, and I actually have Ohio State, not Ohio, sorry, Iowa State, and I have Iowa State coming out. I think uh, they're really good on defense. They're fourth in defensive efficiency. They turn teams over a whole lot, like
They're
almost
they're
2%.
scary.
Yeah, and Michigan tends to turn the ball over. So, of course, Michigan has Elliott Cadeau, which we talked about at the beginning of the season, him going there. I feel like he's had a really good season. But with LJ Kaysen going out for Michigan, it's just, I think that was a bigger hit. Now, look, they've had some time to figure that out. I think Dusty May's a good coach. I don't know, so maybe they've figured something out there, but Iowa State has a guy he's like 6'9" and he shoots like 45% from three. Do you know his name? Momsilovich,
I
maybe?
know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
They're scary good defensively and offensively.
The only
Uh,
thing that's worrisome, their size. I mean, Michigan has a 7'3" guy, and then they're really big. And Iowa State, I don't know who their tallest player is, but I know that the Johnson Jr. guy is a forward and he's 6'9". Um, or no, I'm sorry, that's the wrong team. Um,
Lyndon Moore
Six
or
6'9" is the Momsilovich guy. But they're guard, they've got a 6'1" guard. They're just a little bit smaller. I don't know all their heights, but they're just a little bit smaller, and that I think could cause some trouble. But I picked them to come out of the Midwest region. Sorry to all the Tennessee fans listening. I wanted to pick with my heart, but I did everybody a favor because when I pick Tennessee to go, then we do horrible. Excuse me. If we do get past Virginia and have to face Iowa State, I mean, you got a really good matchup everybody's going to be looking at in Joshua Jefferson for Iowa State and Nate Ament, obviously. Um, so we'll see. I mean, I think, it's like any team on this list, make it win a game, and anybody has the potential to win it all. Maybe not anybody, but anybody can get on a hot streak, And at times Tennessee has looked really, really good this season, really good. And then at times we've just looked like we forgot every single thing we've ever known about basketball, and it's a middle school team. And that's very confusing because there's not a shadow of a doubt that Rick Barnes is a Hall of Fame coach, and he has done everything in his power to get them as prepared as possible. It's just some things have not clicked with this team, especially on defense. I think that we would be in a little bit better shape if we were better defensively, which is wild to say for a Rick Barnes team.
There's always something I look at during the tournament too that could favor Tennessee. People laugh at me when I say it, but I'm telling you, time zone's a big thing. Uh, Tennessee's playing Eastern time zone.
That's a good
If
point.
you was to face, let's say who you got, SMU, I'm telling you, that makes a difference.
Hmm.
I know in the past, every time we went out west, we've struggled. Uh, and I've seen teams that have to come from west to the east to play. It affects them, which I'm not sure how early some of these teams arrived. I know it's normally like 2 days before. What a lot of them plan on, but it may jet lag's a thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And of course, Iowa State, that's they're playing different time zone. Of course, Michigan be the same time zone. But I think that bottom part, Iowa State would definitely be the team you would face if you made a run. SMU, I think, would probably beat Miami of Ohio, which I'm never out in the playing games. That's why I'm glad you get credit if you pick one of them, because if the other wins, you get that point too in most bracket challenges. Virginia, I think Tennessee could probably play better against Virginia than Duke did, just because Duke's inside out. I think Gillespie plays to his potential. They could give Virginia problems.
I hope so. I hope you're right. You wanna go over the West now, Arizona's region?
Well, to hear everybody talk, should I even waste time on it? Because apparently, you listen to everybody, it's Arizona's to lose,
Mm-hmm.
which Arizona is scary. Another freshman, Koa Pete.
Mm-hmm.
He'll probably be top seven, maybe number 5 pick in the draft. He's tough, which I've been screaming for several weeks. I've got Purdue making a run out of that.
Yeah.
A lot of senior leadership. Braden Smith, which he's about to break Duke fans' heart because I think he's one assist away from breaking Bobby Hurley's assist record. Which congrats to him. He's seems like he's a good kid. Purdue's got guards. They've got size, and most of these people were playing with Edie. So that's how long they've been around. Shooters all over the floor. That's what's really scary because you put size and shooting together. But I've actually got an upset in the Sweet 16 out of that region.
Who?
I've got Wisconsin knocking off Arizona. Uh, Wisconsin, one of those teams they can nag you to death, and they've got just that little touch of scoring that can cause you some problems. Nick Boyd, he's about 20 points a game. I think, as a matter of fact, I read an article earlier where since 2026, since the year turned, he's scored over 20 every game he's played in. I think that's how I read it. But it would not surprise me to see Wisconsin knock off Arizona. The
If
matchup
we,
I'm interested.
can I interrupt you?
But
Wisconsin High Point is also a very, very popular 12-5 upset. I didn't pick them, but that's apparently a very popular upset. Okay, go ahead.
well, High Point's a cool name. I like it. It's a very catchy name.
Hmm.
Because Lehigh beat Duke that year, and I still get heck over that. And Lehigh is very catchy, which I think Lehigh's back in the tournament for the first time this year since then. They're in, I'm not sure what region, but I'm pretty sure I've seen
Did they win?
you.
Did they win last night?
No,
No,
they did
they did
not play
not.
last
They
night.
right now, actually. They're playing right now.
Okay,
Yeah.
so they're playing Prairie View, so go Prairie View. Uh, the matchup I'm interested to see if it happens in the second round, which more than likely I think it will. BYU and Gonzaga, I think could be a classic. I know in our previous podcast, I was all on BYU. I've kind of knocked them a little bit. They've got some losses, but the Big 12 is very top heavy.
Hmm.
I don't think it's as good as the ACC from top to bottom, but I think their top 6 teams, maybe even the top 7 teams, are much better than any other conference. Because you look at Arizona, Kansas has proved they can play with anyone. They can beat some people. Houston, throw BYU in there.
Iowa
Uh,
State.
I, Iowa State. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a loaded conference.
Yeah.
Another first round matchup I'm looking at Miami versus Missouri. I think could be a good game. Another freshman at Miami, Henderson, he's had a heck of a season. Miami's had a little magical run.
Mm.
They finished number 4 in ACC. Right below that, you got Purdue playing Queens College. I mentioned Queens earlier. There's no way they're beating Purdue though.
No.
I know it happened to Purdue as a 1 seed one year. They got upset by 16, but uh,
And,
it,
and the next
they
year
won't.
they got beat by 15 as the two.
Yeah, it won't happen again.
No.
Too much size, too much senior leadership. Which I think my lead eight. Yeah, I got Arizona, Wisconsin, BYU, Purdue. Which I would not be shocked if Gonzaga beat Purdue. This probably be the year Gonzaga wins it all because this is probably his least talented team, and he'll make a run. He's a heck of a coach. Now I've got Purdue knocking off Wisconsin, and Purdue in the Final Four.
Okay. I mean, that's, I've seen a couple Purdue picks. I think you're exactly right. I mean, Purdue, I think they just looked so bad at the beginning of the year. If you remember, like they looked so bad for whatever reason. But like you said, they've got guys that have been there, which is extremely important. Braden Smith and what's his name, lawyer, whatever his name is. Um,
Don't forget, what's the other one? Kaufman,
yeah, Kaufman
then
Ran, yeah.
Clough.
Yeah. Yeah, we talked about them at the beginning. I think they were preseason, like what, one or two, along with
Yeah,
Houston. Just they brought back I think they brought back like 50, almost 50 points.
it's scary. Clough took it to Mara in the Big Ten championship game. I
Yeah.
mean, he had a fabulous game against them.
So something to keep in mind, sometimes when teams are just kind of a tier above, sort of like, I mean, I hate to say it, but sort of like, well, I won't say that anyways.
Go
Um,
ahead.
No, that's okay. Well, okay, so like Arizona, for example, or Duke, when you're just maybe a little bit above everybody else, I don't worry as much about if they win their conference tournaments, but Purdue is not. Um, and they won the Big Ten, so you wonder how much that took out of them, which they're a veteran team, but I don't know what seed they were and how many games they had to play, but I assume they would have had to play at least three or four. And then to make, any kind of run. I have them going to the Elite Eight and losing to Arizona. But that would be,
That's
three
a
wins there.
very That's a very. I've been screaming for a Duke loss for like 2 weeks.
Hmm.
Somebody beat us,
Yeah.
and I figure we'd have if we were to get lucky and win it. I think it'd be 17 games in a row.
Yeah.
That's hard.
That's hard
That's
to do.
hard to do.
Yeah. Yeah. So, with that being said, Purdue won the Big Ten, Arizona and Duke. Those are the three contenders that won their conference tournament. Whether or not you obviously think Purdue's a contender. Like I said, I have them in the Elite Eight. I think that Arkansas, they won the SEC. I have them going to the Sweet 16. I don't have them going past Arizona, and Sweet 16 maybe a little bit, even though they're playing really good. They won the SEC. But I just don't know if they'll. Arizona's just looks so good. I had Missouri beat
Yeah,
Miami. That was the other difference I had on mine. So my
yeah.
16, I had Arizona, Arkansas, Gonzaga, and Purdue, which was a little bit different than yours, but
Now I think the teams, even though I'm so high on Purdue, I think Arizona, BYU, Gonzaga, they have a huge advantage because I went back to what I just said a minute ago. Time zone.
mm,
It's in San Jose. And that's a huge difference for, say, like a Purdue traveling to California to play. Who else was in that? Miami. Look how far they got to go. And
yeah.
Miami's got the potential. They could pull a few, win a couple games. They could beat Purdue, but I just don't think they're deep enough yet. Which first year coach, that's one of the coaches I was watching in at the first year, and he's done an excellent job. He was probably I didn't see the final vote, and of course John Shire got coach of the year in ACC. I want to say Lucas was probably second in voting, which he probably actually deserved it,
Hmm. Yeah.
with because it was an amazing job what he did down there.
Yeah. Let's jump over and talk about the South. Uh, this. I went back and forth on in my bracket on this one so much. Florida's the one seed, Houston's the two. Florida's third in the nation in rebounding. They brought, like we've said before, and everybody knows at this point, they brought back their entire front court, which, didn't disappoint if you're a Florida fan. They struggled a lot at the beginning of the season, really into a few games of conference play.
Was it a true struggle though? Because a lot of those games were close games. Uh,
Yeah, I
I
mean,
don't.
you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know. I'll argue with people on struggling and losing close games, uh, which you can also argue. They're a veteran team; they should have won them. But their front court, I don't know. I don't know. Their bigs are unreal, and he was pretty much rebuilding his guard lineup. And
He
I
was,
don't know
but I mean, they
that.
got the number one. Wasn't Xavier Lee the number one portal player? I think it took him a little bit, and I don't think he's probably he's
I
got
don't think he was the. I don't think he was the fit at Florida.
yeah.
Which I think a lot of people always they numbers jump out to them. And it's hard to average, say, 30 points at Harvard, Yale, and let that translate into SEC play. There
Mhm.
have been very few times I've seen it actually happen. Uh, I don't know if Tennessee's had any in the past that transferred from mid major. Well, Connect. I mean, that'd probably be the closest. And the only one I can really think of that Duke ever brought was Seth Curry, which he came from Liberty. I mean, he was scorching it. He ended up, I think his total career average was probably about 15 a game for Duke, which is good in the ACC. And when Dalton was probably he was over 20 a game, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think he ended up around 22, but he had like I don't know how many over 30 games that
I
year.
know he had a 40-point game against Carolina, right? Or
Yeah,
flirted with 40.
39. He set
Yeah.
the record in the Dean Dome for an opponent.
God love their hearts.
Chaz Lanier, we brought from South Florida last year. He was another really good
Was
defender.
he the one that Barnes said he needs to start hitting some shots and earn the money he made or something like that?
He told him he pulled him from a game one time, and he said, which I think he sent this to Nate, maybe. He pulled him during, I think it was the Texas game, and said, "We're pay," and he said this in his post game presser. He said, "I'll tell you what I told him. I said, we're paying you to take that shot. If you're not going to take it, you're going to come sit by me." So, you know, and I like it.
So, yeah, I do too.
Yeah, I like it. So I have Florida. I had Iowa beating Clemson in that in that 8-9 matchup. Um, Probably
That's a tough game to pick.
that's a tough game. Yeah. Um, Iowa I just picked them just for defense. I don't know. Um, Vandy and the big storyline out of this region, one of them is can Nebraska get their first ever tournament win, which that's crazy to think about.
I think they might get two this year.
Well, if they get two, that would have them beating Vandy, and I am crazy, but and I hate this so much, but I think I hate Florida more, so I picked Vandy to beat Florida in the Sweet 16 to go to the Elite Eight. That was probably a really dumb pick. I picked that one with just because I didn't want to pick Florida. I have North Carolina coming out of that first game, but then losing to Illinois. Um, I think it's going to be really interesting. Texas A&M is playing St. Mary's and then more than likely Houston. So we talked about Buckyball in our last podcast. It it worked for about 5 games in the SEC before everybody figured it out this year. Um, but I'm wondering nobody that they're playing here unless they go all the way through and face Florida or Vanderbilt in the top half of the bracket. Uh, Nobody's played that style, they can watch film, but I didn't pick them in my bracket, but there's a possibility that A&M could go on a little mini run here. Houston, I have beating Illinois. I went back and forth. if you could see my bracket, I've marked them out a few times because,
Illinois is a Jekyll and Hyde team.
yeah. And then, like they're the number one offensive team in the country. They smoked Tennessee when we played them in Nashville.
How
Um,
big of an advantage do you see it being Houston where it's played at? Because I think that was a little unfair. If I was on to gripe about anything about the seeding, is Houston coming through Houston.
well, I mean, you've got Illinois is only one of two, three seeds with a defense outside the top 25. Um, and as we've seen a few times this year, Houston has that little Kingston Flemings kid that can absolutely go off, and he seems like, he plays better in big games, and you know, so I have Houston coming out of that bracket and making it to the Final Four. More than likely, we're going to see a Houston, Florida, national championship rematch in the Elite Eight. And I'm just hoping that Houston wins this time because I do not want to see Florida in the Final Four again. I'm sick of them. I wish that why
I,
can some NBA team not hire Todd Golden? Just hire him. He would do great there.
uh, I, I don't know. I'd hate to see his travel expenses because I don't know. He seems to me, I'm not knocking the guy, like the coach that would slip out of the hotel and go and have a good time while the rest of the team's at the hotel.
I'd like to see
I,
his deleted DMs. That's what I'd like to see. Or
yeah, he
I would not like to see him, or maybe his photo gallery, because there's probably some pretty spicy stuff on there, if I had to
Yeah,
guess.
which I don't want to get political, but it seems like one of the most entertaining things we have now is like presidential debates. Could you imagine him and Danny Hurley in a debate?
No.
Who would complain the most? They're both pretty bad. I think Hurley has. I mean, he's pretty vulgar about it, but he's probably got more. I mean, Florida could lose by 30, and it's the ref's fault.
Hmm. Yeah, 100%. I think for me, those are probably the two least liked coaches. I can't stand either one of them, but so my final four is Duke, Houston, Iowa State, and Arizona. I have Arizona and Duke playing in the national championship game, and I'm sorry, George, but and I almost didn't do this because of your point guard being hurt, but I want to win the money and win the bracket, and
Oh, really? You going with the money?
yeah, so I picked Arizona to win it all.
You're
Uh,
forgetting something though.
what?
And you keep mentioning our point guard being out. I mean, you're forgetting one thing. They're predicting number one, Caleb Foster, to be back by Final Four if we make a run.
Okay,
It could be some head games going on.
probably.
I'm telling you, don't be surprised. Which the thing scares, which I went back and watched several old national championships of ours, and every year Duke shines when they're 7 deep. I think that's the way they like it. But you know the other catch too, though, don't you?
What?
Indianapolis.
Oh, you don't win it in Indianapolis?
We always
Do
win
you
in
win?
it.
Oh,
Indianapolis, where all five titles have been won at. So,
oh, good Lord. Well, then I don't know, but I picked Arizona. Um, I would love to see, the Vols make
so
a.
who's your
They can.
fourth team? You
Uh,
had Arizona, Duke,
Houston,
Houston, and who?
Iowa State. I have Iowa State coming out of the Midwest,
Okay.
Tennessee's region.
I think our big difference was just, of course, me being on the Purdue Kool Aid right now.
And you very well may be right. So you also had Houston and Iowa State?
I had Houston, Iowa State, I do believe. Yes, Houston, Iowa State, Duke, and Purdue.
Yeah. So the one thing I didn't like about this, that's a 1-3 I had. Oh no, yeah, I didn't go chalky at all. I've got a 2, and what's Vanderbilt, a 5? I think Vanderbilt was way underseeded at a 5. Um, so I have a 2, a 5, a 3, a 1, and then 1-2, 1-2 in the other on this side. So,
Well, my thoughts on the underseed, and once you get past a 3 seed, about any team can argue they's
mhm.
underseeded. Uh, which I mentioned earlier. I do not think there'll be that many first round upsets, which every year I say that they happen. But I mean, these teams are so loaded this year. I think you got about 12 teams that's stacked, and I just don't see the possibility of any of them getting upset, which I wish I hadn't said that because I always go back to Lehigh and Mercer.
Hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. But this, I mean, the bracket, I love it, other than Duke's side being loaded.
Hmm.
But you don't have to beat somebody anyways to win it. I mean, it's better to play them early, which you say that, but you look, you'll have, Purdue, Florida, Houston, all them waiting. Uh, I mean, if you got to beat the best to be the best.
Well, last year we had four one seeds, which happens every now and then. I think it had been like 2017. I think it happened. Is that right?
Yeah. I want to
Or
say
that it was like
maybe,
years or something.
let's see here. It wasn't 2015 because you had Michigan State. I think it was 2017.
Mm.
And before that, the closest I can remember, ooh, it'd been a while.
Yeah, yeah, I think
Because
it.
it seemed like you always had three one seeds and a two seed sneak in there.
Hmm. I mean, hear people on the radio and on all the talking heads say about how like Cinderella's dead. Um,
Cinderella is playing at Power Five schools this year. I've been saying it all season. I think next year it's probably the year you hear the Cinderellas again. I think it's going to be a trickle effect. Next year be Cinderella year. As soon as season's over, they're poached.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
it's going to get worse too because I'm pretty sure before too long the NBA is going to lift the ban on the one and done will be over.
Hmm.
These kids are eventually going to be eligible to go straight to NBA, which they should if they're ready. If I had a chance to go, I would.
Hmm. Yeah,
And I don't think NIL impact will be enough to hold some of them back because NIL is great, but NBA contracts better
yeah,
because
yeah,
you're pretty much guaranteed endorsements in an NBA contract as well. I mean, guaranteed endorsements. Yeah, I'd have to go the NBA direction if it came down to NIL and NBA.
yeah. I just feel like this year has just there's so much talent in college basketball now, which you can directly link to NIL. So people that complain about NIL, look at how the college game is just you got a lot of talent, So yeah. Do you have anything else that you want to talk about? We went through everything now.
I kind of just had five little questions
Okay.
about the brackets. Number one, can youth prevail? We've discussed it. Deepest freshman class ever. There's a great possibility you will prevail. About every team loaded except for a couple, so led by well, I'll say a freshman, some of them multiple. That goes right into number two is older better. Look at your Purdue's, your Florida's. You'll probably get your definite answer this year because they're more than likely some of these teams are going to meet up late eight, final four, even championship game. Uh, I've mentioned it two or three times. Number three, did the mid majors get plucked too dry? I think they did.
Hmm.
Number four, does Houston have an unfair advantage? I'm telling you, home city is a big thing. No travel, just they're living their everyday regular life. And I know you've blamed my Duke stuff. Can Duke run the gauntlet again? Because this tournament looks similar to our early season schedule, and I'm including Tennessee in that too, because Tennessee's a heck of a team. Played them in Central Florida exhibition games: Michigan, Michigan State, Arkansas, Kansas, Texas Tech, Texas, Carolina twice, Louisville twice, Clemson twice, Virginia twice. That's a loaded schedule.
Yeah. I mean, Tennessee's had some good wins. The Houston win early on, I think, gave everybody, and it's just we've just had an extremely inconsistent year, So you'll have that. It took Nate a little while to figure out the physicality of college basketball and especially the SEC, but I think that, he came on and right before his injury, he was playing really good. So he's had time to heal up. I think, you know, I've said it, and a lot of people have said it. That first game is a little bit scary, but I think if you give Rick Barnes, we've been off since Saturday, I guess, or Friday. That's a lot of time for Rick Barnes to prepare his team. He's, the winningest active coach in college basketball, and I think we'll be ready for whoever we face. And who knows? I mean, he's never going to look ahead, but we could get. I wouldn't be totally shocked if we made it to the Sweet 16. I would be very shocked if we made it to the Elite Eight. I also wouldn't
Rick
be shocked if
Barnes
we lost the first round.
Barnes is a heck of a coach, and I agree 100%. You give him time to prepare, he'll have a plan ready.
Yeah.
Uh, I bet he's an amazing chess player. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
like it's just like he's a thinker.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're in the same situation. Like, I don't know if they've been a game we played in 3 years. We was down at halftime. I was worried about because it's just like he can make adjustments just like that. Halftime adjustments. I've noticed the same thing. Rick Barnes, something ain't working by second half, he's got something else ready to go for him. It's like he's like got 2 or 3 moves in his head that he's just saving when he's got to use them. And you give the guy to time, he'll get you a game plan.
Yeah, I mean that's the hallmark of a great coach is can you adjust? How well can you
Is
adjust?
he? Is Rick Barnes back at Tennessee next year?
Yes, I believe so. Mainly because I think he really likes this freshman class. I mean, aside from Nate will be gone, but I think that he may be trying to build like he did with Zakai and Jemai, that group. I think that, we have Amari Evans who is just a phenomenal freshman and Dwayne Brown. We're young. I mean, we're only losing, Nate, Felix Okpara. I feel like there's one other person that's just not coming to my mind. Grant Hurst, which is a scholarship player. I think this year they gave him a scholarship, but everybody else is back. We've played the whole year without Cade. That was a big piece that really affected what we could do down low, especially offensively. So I'm hoping. I don't. Nobody knows if Rick Barnes is coming back or not. I don't care anybody that says that they know because I guarantee you that Rick Barnes does not know if he's coming back or not. He says every year that he prays about it and he goes where the Lord leads him, and you just never know. He has a
Now
lifetime contract.
he's not named a coach in waiting or anything, correct?
No.
Because that seems to
Gainey has
be
been
the
named
comp.
like a coach to watch for different places.
Yeah,
He could very well be poached.
that seems to be the new trend for a lot of these coaches that's retiring. Most of them's pretty much had their successor set and ready to go. Well, the I don't know about the Auburn situation. That was there's something still a little strange about that, and
Yeah.
it seems like that we're gonna have to listen to Bruce cry about it instead of listening to Chuck and Kenny argue about everything this year.
Hmm.
That's gonna be kind of sad.
Yeah, there's some funny like little memes and stuff going around on social media about it too. Um, yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know.
he was really heartbroken. I mean, I thought he'd be a little bit more professional than what he was.
And but that's why you love Bruce Pearl if you love him because he puts it all out there. Um, I think Tennessee fans, of course, are split about Bruce Pearl. I've hated. I'm fine with Bruce Pearl now that he's not coaching anymore. Like I loved him when he was here. I cried when he got fired. But I think he's a good guy. I mean, he's just extremely passionate. He's definitely one that would pull LeBron and put Bronny on the team, or
Hmm.
threaten to quit or whatever. I mean, he's definitely that he pretty much did the same thing at Auburn. So I don't know, but it's going to be an interesting tournament, like it always is. The best time of year, in my opinion. You've
Oh, it's Christmas, New Year's, and 4th of July to me all rolled into one.
oh
You
yeah,
could probably even throw St. Patty's Day in there. I mean, I love it. There's nothing like March Madness.
yeah, yeah. I
Well,
mean,
there's nothing like it, and while you're winning, it takes you a little bit to recover from it. Uh, which it takes me a while. It takes my phone getting turned off. Uh, I got horrible friends. I guess that's the best way to put it.
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
you remember in 2022 when I didn't speak to anybody in my house for 2 weeks after we lost.
yeah, you was a pretty big baby about it.
I
Which, hey, did get a notification just a few minutes ago. Kind of links both of our schools. Apparently, David Cutcliffe has officially retired from football.
Yeah, I saw that too. Yeah,
Yeah, it popped up on one of the Duke forums just a few minutes ago. So,
yeah,
congrats to Cut on retiring.
yeah. Well, I think that's everything. If anybody is watching or listening, we really appreciate you. Like I said, we just like to talk about basketball. So that's the sole reason why we're doing this. Hopefully, if you haven't picked your bracket, we could give you some information. I'm not saying pick yours based on mine because I've never finished even in the top five. In a bracket challenge, but we try to give you a little bit of information to make your own picks. And George, I appreciate you doing this with me. It's been fun. I don't like your
Yeah,
shirt, but
I
your room looks cool.
thank you.
Everybody go follow Hooked on Cards on Instagram. Give him a follow. And I'm sure he would highly appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for the plug. I really appreciate it.
No problem. And also, if you're listening and you're not a member of the Vol Vault on Facebook, um, join. You'll have to answer some questions, but jump in with us. It's been a little slow in there for the past couple months, but we're fixing to pick it back up. We'll have football stuff coming up, and of course, lots of the number one team in the country, the Lady Vols softball team. I will 100% turn a baseball game off to watch a softball game right now. I've not missed a minute of any softball game so far this season because we lost our first game last weekend, 1-0. But they are a fun group to watch if you're out there watching or listening to this and you've not checked out Lady Vol softball. Give them, tune in because they're fun. We have elite pitching, elite defense, and elite hitting, so it's all a really good combination. And that's probably about all I have. George, thank you. Thank you, everybody at home.
Good luck to everyone's teams. Keep it classy, no broken bones, no breaking tables. It's just a sport, so it's just a game.
It's not just a game. It's not just a
Maybe you're right. Yeah. Okay. So if your team gets knocked out, don't sleep for 2 days. Definitely don't speak to no one for at least a week.
Mhm.
And if someone does approach you and they say something about your team losing, just
Punch them
keep
in the
it
face.
classy and yeah, keep it classy and punch them right square in the nose.
Absolutely. Yeah. We promote violence. It's okay. All right, George. Well, I'll talk to you later. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You be good. Good luck.
You too. Kinda. Go Vols.